How's it going, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Devil May Crypto. Today I'm going to try to do a little bit of a nutshell video for WeTrust. I'm going to try to make it short, concise, to the point. I've been doing a little bit of research on the project. When I say a little bit, I've been at it for quite a few hours here. I started last night and it kind of went off into the morning, and so I'm back at it today. But basically what WeTrust is a decentralized platform for financial products. I wanted to kind of go over this one because I like the finance sector of cryptocurrency. I like the decentralization that a lot of these do. And I think WeTrust is a good one. First, the team is pretty good. Advisors are good too. They do have their first product out. So they're not very new. A lot of the tokens I cover, they've only been out for a month, 2 months, something like that. The team's just getting really into it. WeTrust has been at it since I think April of 2017. So they've had a little bit of time to ramp up, but I think it is a good project, and we're gonna go over that in just a little bit. So let's get started. So basically, WeTrust mission: 3 things: improve financial inclusion on a global scale. They mentioned time and time again during my research that there's billions of people out there that don't have the same opportunities that me and you do. Most people, like the United States, for example, or wherever you're watching from, but they don't have access to banks, or they might have really crappy credit, whatever else it is. I mean, even third world countries, they might only have access to a very crappy computer or something like that, but nobody really wants to do any type of work with them. But what you're going to see in a lot of these places, or the people that are disenfranchised, to say the least, I guess, they participate in something called a ROSCA. I call it a ROSCA. I don't know if people pronounce ROSCAs or whatever else, but we'll get to that soon in just about a second here. But improve financial inclusion on a global scale, provide decentralized financial services, and then create transparency that fosters trust. Of course, decentralized financial services, I've been really big on that. I think the future is decentralized. I think we can get rid of banks. I think if they make it easy enough, if they make it as easy as using like an iPhone, clicking one thing, asking what you want to do, be like, click here if you want to borrow money, click here if you want some money, this is how much you're going to return. Just basically making the interface of smart contracts where people can work together in a peer-to-peer network. I think that is what needs to happen. That's I don't know how many years from now. I mean, crypto's the beginning of it, but I truly believe in stuff like this. So I did want to focus on WeTrust for that reason. They are, like I said, they do have a product out already. We'll go over that in just a second too. They are going to have dApps on the WeTrust platform. Of course, they say your dApp. They want people to actively try to make something through their own network of the WeTrust platform. So they'll allow developers to build new dApps with access to public user data and our libraries of tools. So the next one is CoinPool. They don't have too much information on it. That'll be the next one. They already have another one with trusted lending circles, which we'll go over in just a second here. But the tokens, it's going to be the same type of thing you see amongst all of these cryptos, which is it's just a payment within the ecosystem of the crypto within WeTrust. So people that lend, or people that bring the trusted circles together, that are the fuel to the systems. They get paid in WeTrust, in the tokens, to the TRST. So that's kind of how it works, but not very different from what you're going to see on most of these that I cover. So they allow you to subscribe to the newsletter. The core team, I think, is great. Of course, always want to focus on the CEO. So the CEO is George Lee. He's passionate about financial inclusion, helps believe in improving blah, 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 blah. Prior to WeTrust, George was on Google's business operations and strategy team, an internal strategy team that worked on special projects sponsored by Google's executive team. Before joining Google, he was a consultant with McKinney & Co., where he advised senior executives on a range of issues, as growth strategy, mergers, acquisitions, and everything else. George received his MS in Management Science and Engineering from Stanford and his BS in Electrical and Computer Engineering from Rutgers University. Pretty impressive, and it goes long. Take your time to look through this. We have a lot of Berkeley and a lot of Stanford here, so they're all Cali guys. They're Silicon Valley bros. But as it goes over, look through these when you do your own research. But I've looked through them. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find they all have Twitters. They're pretty out there. Then the advisors, Vitalik, Bo Shen, founding partner of Finbushi Capital, founder and CEO of Open Bazaar. So a few guys that have some experience to help these guys out. And they do have a little blog on here, and then talk about what they've been seeing and stuff. And you can click on that and kind of go a little bit more deep into it. But I like them because they have been in the game for a little bit. They do have working products, so we'll check that out in just a second here. It is called Trusted Lending Circles. Those are the Roscoes I was talking about. And so we'll see how it works together. They do have a main network and a test network if you do want to try it out. We won't go too far into that today, but we'll see how it works. So we'll do this together. John needs a new motorcycle for his delivery service. He can invite people he knows to help him save up. So John creates a lending circle. Once he sets the rules and length of time, people can accept and join. So he gets a bunch of his friends, colleagues, acquaintances, whoever else that wants to become part of this network of lending, which is the Trusted Lending Circles. So John starts a lending circle. People contribute money according to the rules John has set. So it's within a smart contract. People contribute whatever capital that is set forth by the foreperson, which is John. As the end of each contribution round, the money pooled gets distributed to a single person in the circle. In some circles, people can bid to win the pool. In others, the pool gets distributed to people according to a set schedule. So some of them are random. It's whatever John really sets up. It's like the rules beforehand you read out. If you accept it, it kind of goes that way within the smart contract. But some of them, it's like everybody gets a chance, and then some of them, like randomly, it chooses everybody. But it generally has one person, and then it does an entire round until everybody's really gotten something out of it. But everybody contributes, and then you get a large chunk, and there's payouts. It's kind of like, a little bit of a lottery. Everybody puts it in together, and then somebody wins that, lottery specific to what you had set up within the smart contract. John can now afford his motorcycle. People in the circle have more money to spend too. So that's kind of how it works. It's pretty cool. After the Trust Lending Circle ends, John or anyone can start another, continue to save and borrow with others. So you can keep it going. And once you actually have that network and people, I'm sure they'll have scores on people that are really into it, that it works well with. Within these Trust Lending Circles, I'm sure there's going to be a viability of levels of trust or variability of levels of trust inside of them. And you're probably going to work with people that are good contributors too. You can learn more with it too, the mission, but that's when you can view the white paper. I already have the white paper open. We'll go over that in just a second. And they have the application, so you can check it out on the main network. It is very, very cool. You're going to need a MetaMask for Ethereum. It's built off the Ethereum network. So get MetaMask first, then you can kind of go from there. But awesome. Not going to go over it today. Check it out. Let's move on. So within CoinMarketCap, pulled up WeTrust. It's right now valued at 0.23. Right now, it is March 11th, and everything has taken a pretty severe hit. Everything's down in the past week about 30-something% on average. So you can see where it kind of the genesis right here, which is 0.07. This is around 4/21, April 21 of 2017, and it kind of went sideways for all. Had its normal ups and downs. It'd go up, go down, and then it had that large spike around January time. Everybody, the whole market was up at this point. I mean, everyone's flooding money into it, but then it kind of shot back down. So now it's at 0.23. So you'll see the last time it was at, this level was around May. So it picked up, traction really quick. I think it's going to fall down even more. I think it'll go down probably towards like less than 0.20. I mean, there's no really way. I don't like to talk too much about getting into it. It is a good project, but I would go in a little bit sooner, or it's not sooner, a little bit later when it does drop a little more, because I think it will. But I do believe that this project has a lot of potential. As more dApps are built on it, and as they have more users within this, they'll have more money for R&D. Basically, if they can just keep growing their ecosystem of users, they'll be very, very profitable, and it'll work really well. But the team will help facilitate that. They got a few good heads, putting a lot of work into it. And they've been out for a while, and you can see that they've grown. They've hit certain points. They have good communication. I want to go back to their Twitter. I always recommend looking on Reddit, looking on Twitter. Um, uh, if they're very active in those, if they talk to their community, if they're like I said, they need to put themselves out there, and I do think WeTrust has that. They have about 18,000 followers right now. With Twitter, you never know how many bots or whatever else. Like Twitter, I feel like is 70% bots, but they have a pretty decent following. But they have been out for a while. And only on January 18th is when their biggest milestone happened. The lending circles went live. Their communication, it isn't the best, but it's also not the worst. I think at this point, because they've been out for for such a long time, it does take them a while to get to certain levels. So I think this is more of a longer term hold here. This isn't going to be a big flip. But like I said, as long as they can grow themselves, the reason why it's so important for things like WeTrust, their social media presence, everything else is they need to get people excited about it. They need to market themselves very well. They've done it okay. I don't think they're ramping up too much, but we'll go over that in just a second within the white paper, because that's the next thing we're gonna go to. We're gonna try to go through it quickly, but I did check out their Reddit too. Let's see. It has about 1,600 readers, 53 on right now at the time I'm looking at this. I would expect a little bit more out of WeTrust for being out for quite some time. They do need to amplify their exposure. So hopefully I can help them do that, but they do need to get themselves out there. There's some newer coins that I've reviewed, and they have way more than this, and they're much more they're much more interactive, especially on Reddit is a big one. A lot of people in the crypto community are extremely extremely active Reddit users, and so I want them to get more on here. They do have a Telegram to check out. I don't have that up, but the Twitter, not too great, a little bit lackluster. So I don't give them a lot of points on this, but hopefully they can kind of go forward from there, especially once they start marketing themselves pretty heavily. And once they have a few more, dApps, and once they're really comfortable with throwing a lot of money into this, I think it'll be a very positive thing. So this is their white paper. Their abstract, I'll go over it quickly. It's a collaborative savings, lending, and insurance platform that is autonomous, agnostic, frictionless, and decentralized. WeTrust utilizes the Ethereum blockchain to create a full-stack alternative financial system that leverages existing social capital and trust networks, eliminating the need for a trusted third party. So basically, they're trying to get rid of what banks are doing now. They'll make it cheaper. They'll make it faster, and they want to do it better. And that's the gist of it basically. It's pretty detailed. They have, like I said, they have been out for a while, so it should be this detailed. But at the top, they have a little glossary here. They talk about the ecosystem, the token itself. Let's go ahead and click on that. So, the tokens are the currency for services performed by WeTrust, as well as other service providers in the WeTrust ecosystem. Coins are rewarded to any actor that facilitates trust and is paid by any actor that uses the trust network. So it's basically the currency. It's literally what makes the thing work. It's their gas. Market force and supply the demand that will dictate the amount of trust coin per transaction. It plans to generate fees and trust from products such as trusted lending circles, direct lending, mutual insurance, in order to support development costs. So right now, what I really want to talk about is even though like they only have the one application out for now, they are planning more out. They have one that's in the works, and once they get people to make dApps on it, so third-party people to get into it. That's why they need to get themselves out there. They need to get people excited and people wanting to go into WeTrust system. There are other ones out there, so they do have not in the necessarily the Roscoe that aspect of it. I don't think anybody else is doing it, but that will only be a very small part of what they do. They want to branch out to do exactly what banks do in a decentralized manner. So they have a long ways to go. Am I super impressed by them right now? I think they need to basically ramp up a lot of their marketing. Their R&D seems to be, somewhat slow. I do expect more out of them, although I have been babied by a lot of the cryptocurrencies that I go into. They hit the ground running. They've already had something right when they came out, and that's the ones I usually go into. So I will say that regardless, they are much farther ahead than a lot of other cryptocurrencies. They have a good team, and I do believe they have potential. They do have a little bit of what's the way I can put it? The competition is somewhat fierce in the financial ecosystem of cryptocurrencies. So there's going to be plenty of other people trying to do something very similar. They can separate themselves though. Their initial DApp on the system is different. So there is plenty of space available. You think about all the different lenders out there and everything else. There's room for all of them. They will grow. It is a good project. And like I said, I want to go back to it. They do. They've remained sideways because they haven't made huge strides. I believe that's why you don't see these huge peaks and valleys. But once they ramp up their marketing, I think we will expect a lot more from them. But my personal take on it, positive, neutral positive. They need to go a little bit quicker. I want to see more out of them. They've been out for a while, and they do have a lot of competition, so they have to make themselves really stand out. Hopefully they can do that, but I do believe in the team. We'll see how it goes. Just want to say, everybody, thank you for watching another episode of Devil May Crypto. Please like, subscribe, and comment. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me.